Lord, you continue to give guidance, direction, strength, and courage to stay the course that you have us to be on. Lord, I pray you be with each and every life that's affected by this situation, that you would work in your perfect way as the great physician to move in their lives. And then, Lord God, we would always give you all the praise, honor, and glory for your grace in our lives. Lord, please forgive us we failure and keep us throughout this week. In President Helena. Amen.
Amen.
Please salute. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, let's come to order, and will the clerk please call the roll for the establishment of a quorum?
Councilmember Jenkins?
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe? Councilmember Lowe?
Here.
Councilmember Harris? Present. Mayor Jones?
Here, before we begin, and just to let everyone know, we ultimately will not even be adopting an agenda this morning because we'll have no action to take. This has been a pretty busy last 48 hours or so. As you know, we announced at a press conference on Saturday that two federal agencies had determined that the CDP at McClellan would be used to house and care for certain coronavirus patients who've been evacuated from the Diamond Princess cruise ship in Japan. We immediately began having conversations not only with our local legislative delegation and congressional delegation, but senior officials at the Department of Department of Health and Human Services. At one of those meetings yesterday, it became clear that there were likely some misconceptions as to what all training actually takes place at the CDP and whether that facility would indeed be suitable for the purpose to which Health and Human Services had determined it to be. Numerous discussions with Governor Ivey. I know that Congressman Rogers talked to President Trump. Senator Shelby did, and Senator Jones' staff had conversations with the President and with officials at Health and Human Services. It was ultimately determined, and I want you to know there will be a press conference at 11 to further explain the sequence of events. But it was ultimately determined that at this time, the CDP would not be a suitable location for evacuees to be transported. Y'all will recall that we voted at a meeting yesterday to authorize the drafting of any legal action may ultimately be necessary. And we've reconvened here today to take action on that. There is no need to take action on that. In that last night, we received an email from a senior official at Health and Human Services, again informing us that the CDP at this time would not be used as a site to transport evacuees. So that's where we are now. Again, there will also be a press conference at 11 o'clock. I will, at this time, open it up for members of the council to speak briefly if they so choose, and then I will actually be moving to adjourn, as there will be no action taken today. Would anyone like to say anything?
I would just like to say that the entire community has reason to be concerned, and I stand by my initial statement. Our prayer is that the people get well and get well soon, and they can be reunited with their families. But I hope that Alabama can be known for more than just building bigger prison and bigger barns to house people in, and to be an open arm, even when it seems to be somewhat frightening and disturbing to the community, that we do be acceptable to people, because it's them now and it can be us later on today. Everything that's flying over our heads and the trains that's coming through here, who knows what's on train or trucks, and we too may have to get to an area at one particular time. I do think that the medical community should be informed of everything that is going on, everything that I think that the nation knows about this coronavirus. because who knows what's lurking amongst us right now, as I stated before, before they really realized what was going on. Other people has been ingressing and egressing into the United States and probably into Alabama. So we don't know what's out there. So I think the medical community, and I hope our legislative delegation will get to the people and get that information to our medical staff here. I want to thank Senator Jones as a representative here today and can express some things back to them. I think as much as to be known should be disseminated to each and every one. And again, everyone that is asking for grant from the federal government, the state, or wherever, they should know what they're asking for and are they willing to carry out whatever it is called for if it is needed. And if the community don't want that, then the community should be expressing that. Don't get them, don't bring the jobs, and let's don't go through this. But again, I understand the fear and concerns of the community. But at the same time, when people are in distress and what they're going through, those people deserve some love and attention. And hope Alabama would be there for it if this is needed. And sometimes people are to try to be some problem solvers versus problem revolvers. But everyone everywhere, thank everyone for their prayers, and I think that we should continue to pray for those the people that are affected in this situation, and pray for our leaders. Again, God bless America and all other nations that endured with this situation. Bless those families. Bless Alabama. Bless Anniston, Alabama, and people everywhere. Thank you very much for your being here and being concerned. I had several phone calls of people with their concerns and expressing their concern. And things like this, you're always going to have people on each side. And I think as elected officials, we must be able to stand in the midst of and make some decisions that may not be popular all the time. This is one that, but I think a lot of people have called, and I thank them for saying that we're doing the right thing to try to help them and should be helping them. It's them now. Who knows when it'll be you or your family. Thank you very much.
I would like to reiterate what I said yesterday. In no way should this be interpreted as a lack of compassion for these individuals who were infected by this virus at no fault of their own. It is not a lack of compassion. Our concern, or my concern, was that is this facility appropriate for that? I mean, I know that they do training there. It's a premier facility in the entire world as far as the training for disasters, but is it equipped to handle people who are going through a disaster? So that question was one that I had. Another that I had was, is there a better location where the population is less dense? That was one question that I had. And so anyway, we don't have to, it's a moot point now. I do feel for these people, and I think the entire council does. But my primary concern was for the health and safety of the people who live here. It was in no way meant to say that we don't care about other people who are going through difficulties. Thank you.
Just very briefly, I want to thank the mayor for his leadership through this. It's been a difficult situation for everybody involved. I appreciate the mayor. I appreciate our county commission. I appreciate the EMA, the police and fire, our city manager. All folks came together in a real rapid fashion, not to stop things, but to understand things. And we did get a good understanding, and ultimately we understood that we're not the best location for this. I also see this as kind of a call to arms, if you will. It was a good exercise for us in understanding disaster training and what is expected of the various entities that come to play in events such as this. It's a good opportunity for us to build upon the relationships that were forged over the weekend, the conversations that were generated, and to be sure that in future times, should events of this nature come to fruition, that we are well prepared and that we have a excellent plan of action in place. So, Mayor, thank you.
Thank you, members. Okay, with that, I will move that we stand in adjournment. Is there a second?
Second.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Jenkins?
Yes.
Councilmember Little?
Yes.
Councilmember Harris?
Yes.
Mayor Johnson?
Yes, we are adjourned, and again, there'll be a press conference at 11 in the main hall. Okay. Thank you all.